All week, events revolved around two stories: disputes over whether the Ukrainian armed forces should be allowed to hit targets in Russia, and the trial in Trump's case regarding payment for the silence of porn actress Stormy Daniels. In the end, both were resolved. Joe Biden secretly authorized Kyiv to use American weapons to shell Russian territory, but only in areas bordering Kharkov, a city in northern Ukraine. Previously, other main allies of Ukraine allowed to attack the Kyiv. Scholz resisted for a long time, but in Brussels they put the pressure on him, and he gave up. With one condition: I still won't give you the Taurus. And no one asks anymore. And a panel of 12 jurors in New York returned a verdict that former President Donald Trump was guilty on all 34 counts. Now on July 11, Judge Juan Merchan will pronounce his verdict, putting a final end to this historic trial. Trump managed to break through the bottom and rush into political hell, and the time has come for Republicans to think hard. Should they continue to bet on this guy? True, Trump doesn't think so. We will continue to fight, we will fight to the end, and we will win because our country has become hell, he said as he left the courthouse. We no longer have the same country, we have a divided mess. It is clear that the appeal is already ready, and no one will lock Trump in a cell. Biden campaign spokesman Michael Tyler commented on the jury's verdict: Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed that he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain. There is only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office: the ballot box. But the Allies' decision to allow the Ukrainian armed forces to hit the Kyiv immediately responded with a blow to the Krasnodar territory of the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian armed forces used Neptune cruise missiles to blow up the oil terminal of the port of Caucasus and the ferry crossing. In Tatarstan, due to drones flying around in the sky, the operation of the airports of Kazan and Nizhny Kamsk was limited, and evacuation was announced at several enterprises. There is quiet hysteria in the Kremlin over the impending defeat in the war. Crimean mothers look with alarm at the Kerch Bridge, Jankoy and Sevastopol. And as soon as the annexed peninsula begins to return to its rightful owner, Putin will face a historic choice: use the nuclear card or crawl away. Judging by how quickly the State Council Tower is being completed, the system is preparing to restart without the board leader. Diamond may become the very figure that the Kremlin puts forward for negotiations. Officials at all levels are already breathing unevenly on him. He is not covered in the war, although he secretly supported the meat cook Prigozhin. He can give guarantees to Putin that he will not slaughter his many children and grandchildren. It is possible to talk with him about the crawling of the furry snouts to the borders of 1991 and the recognition of the war as a mistake. But that is if Putin doesn't resist and throws the nuclear card on the table. And the reasons for this are becoming more and more every day. Denmark allows Ukraine to use F-16 fighter jets to attack military targets in Russia, said Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen. In total, 12 states have currently allowed Kyiv to attack military targets in Russia with supplied weapons. In addition, France is already ready to send its instructors to Ukraine. Paris will also finance, arm and train a Ukrainian motorized brigade. The agreements are very serious and we can expect something next week, one of the sources said. It was decided to end the war this year. It has already fulfilled its mission. It disposed of old types of weapons and tested new ones, demonstrated the nature of modern combat and gave impetus to the restart of military production. Now the stage is coming not even of forcing peace, but of carefully throwing out the racists from Ukraine, for which the collective West has its own plans. In the future, it will play the role of a buffer between civilization and the cave, and a strategic springboard in the confrontation with China. As part of these intentions, Zelensky and Biden will sign a security agreement on the sidelines of the G7 summit, which will be held from June 13 to 15 in Italy. And immediately after it there will be a peace summit in Switzerland, from which the Kremlin is already reeling to the point of nausea. A little more and the system will vomit the bald man out of its mouth. Russian outcasts were not invited to the celebration of the 80th anniversary of the Allied landings in Normandy, which will take place in France on June 6. But Biden and Zelensky will arrive there. Now they need to meet as often as possible, since relations between the administrations of Ukraine and the United States are experiencing a cooling. Zelensky suspects Biden of wanting to end the war before the US elections. And this is probably exactly what will happen, after which Kyiv and Moscow will have completely different leaders and administrations. However, there are still too many unknowns in this equation of the future. For example, China refused to participate in the peace conference on Ukraine due to the absence of Russia. And how will Putin react to the destructive attacks on the Kyiv by American weapons, which could begin at any moment? Europe is moving along a narrow path over the abyss of continental war.